I'm making this video just to see how quickly we can go from downloading pfSense to install of a VPN. I'm hoping for less than 20 minutes. Here we go. We're going to download the latest version at pfsense.org, community version. Downloading that. Going to get the ISO 64-bit. That's the one I want. Saving it to my downloads folder. Save. Very quick download. It's not a huge package. Okay. I'm going to go over to that, view that file in my folder. I'm under Linux. And so that shows up there. There's the pfSense release. Oh, that's only the signature. Go back to the web page. It's going to take. This should take a little longer, so I'm going to say that. Click save. And there we go. That's going to take 5 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to pause. Okay, the download has completed. So I'm going to want to extract that. I see it downloads as a GZ file. So I'm going to go over to my command prompt, my terminal window under Linux. So I'm running under Linux with VirtualBox here. And I do ls. There's my home page. pwd shows my home page. It's the downloads where it went. And there I see the iso.tg. I do tar. I see xf of pfSense. Not that one. pfSense. Oh no, it's just gun. It's not even compressed. It's gunzip. That's the one. Unzipping it, and I should have an ISO there. And there's my ISO. Okay, so I've got the ISO of pfSense. I go to VirtualBox. And I'm going to create one. New machine. I'm called pfSense 2. Create my same place. It's BSD Linux is the type of that pfSense runs on. It's a free BSD version, and I know that just by messing with it. Okay. Gonna go with the default settings, see how it performs. I go default size, see how big it makes it. Yeah, 16 gig. Dynamically allocated means it will not use up all that space immediately, because I don't have a whole lot of space left on my PC here. Okay. Alright, now before I start it, I have to have it use that ISO. So under storage, the empty CD, I choose the location of my optical disk file, and I browse over to my downloads, and there it is. Open that, and now we click OK. Oh, before I forget, this is something I easily forget, is add that second NAT adapter. Make sure adapter 1, I'm going to go ahead and bridge him right away, and adapter 2, I'm going to make him host only adapter. Okay, those are two very important things. And remember, before I forget, I mentioned in another video, but remember under the host network manager, make sure that you are not running DHCP server on your host only, and check the address of your host only. You can manually set that. I'm leaving it at what it had set on it already. Okay. Now remember, I have the ISO pointed. We're ready to go. Okay, it's running through some installs. If all is well, it will boot off there. Yeah, I think it automatically will start install for me. And it goes so quick I don't even have to pause this video. I'm running off an SSD. Going to install. Going with the default key map. Happy with that. There was one time that this failed on me, and I don't know what I did wrong. I just restarted it, the install. I might have had a corrupt ISO. Otherwise, it's very quick. Of course, if you're pulling it off a CD, no, I do not want to enter manual modification. Okay, and I'm rebooting. At this point, while it's rebooting, I'm going to remove the drive. So I go to Machine Settings and Storage. I'm going to remove disk from virtual drive because it doesn't need the disk anymore. Okay. You can hot remove those disks. Okay, now he's booting. And it'll pop me up to the console, the initial setup. Oh, I've seen this too when I pull the CD out in the middle of it. I'm just going to go ahead and do a restart here. Oops. That's what happens if you don't get the CD out right away. It'll start booting from it. Sometimes these messages are useful. Mostly they're just confusing. Okay, now he's seeing the interfaces. That's the bridged interface. He should get a DHCP assigned. I'm at home, so it should get a local class C. You can always view these files over in the var/var/log location if you go into the shell. Actually, FreeBSD may keep them in a different place. Under Linux, all those logs will show up, the D message. Okay, so now you have your first setup. Notice, since I had set him up on the bridged, I can see that he's on the correct network. On the LAN side, he has a manual assignment there. We're going to want to set that. I'm going to set that to the same address as my local host, because then my local host can connect to the LAN side to test it. Okay, so we've already got good interfaces assigned to that, even though I didn't manually go through this. But I am going to adjust number 2. I'm going to assign a new IP address to this guy because I want him the same as my host-only network. So I'm going to use number 2. And configure number 2. New address 192.168.56.2, the second address on that host-only network. 24 bits, class C. No IPv6, no, and yes, I am going to have the pfSense act as a DHCP server. And I'm going to hand out those addresses, 192.168.56, and we'll go from 50 will be the starting address it releases, and 192.168.56.100 or 99 will be the last address. 50 to 99, 50 addresses. And yes, I'm going to allow HTTP. I don't have to worry about any certificates and things initially. Okay, those are saved. Now he should be acting as a DHCP server. While he's, oh, look at that, he's already ready to go. Just to verify that he's connected to the internet, let's bring up a shell. Actually, is there a ping? There's a ping host. I could do this from the shell. Well, let's do this menu 7. Put in a host address. Look, ping 8.8.8.8. Okay, so I can tell the bridge side is connected. Now, just for fun, let's ping another host on the WAN side. I know my PC, VirtualBox host, has an address, so let's ping 192.168.56.1. That confirms that I do have a connection. I have PCs working on the LAN side. Now, to actually have it run as a, it's actually running as a firewall already without me doing anything else. To prove it, I can go over to my Ubuntu guy here on the host net, and just for fun, let's go ahead, I'll connect into him, and let's just do a reboot on him. Let me get you to be able to see that. I can't get him full screen. Basically, I'm doing a shutdown minus R now. No, I have to sudo. And so I have to insert the password. Oh, doesn't like my password. Let me make that silly window smaller so you can see what I'm doing. Why can't it? Come on, come on. There we go. Let's reduce his size. Okay, now we'll get him to reboot. Oh, I forgot. He doesn't have the powers. I need to be logged into somebody else. Now I can sudo. I could restart my networking, but sometimes you're not sure if it's really restarted. You know when you do this that you've restarted. Okay, so he's restarting. Once he comes back, if it's all good, it will have gotten a DHCP server assigned address, and I can even connect to the pfSense system. So it's always running as a firewall right now. While he's doing that, and we can confirm the firewall, let's save a little time here, and let's go to the pfSense. What are we doing? Oh yeah, we need to view the pfSense. So he's running as a firewall. pfSense. There's my Ubuntu system currently on my PC. Get him out of the way. There's my Ubuntu guy booting up. Did I halt him somehow? Not sure what I did to him. There we go. I hit Alt-Tab accidentally on him. Didn't mean to hit an Alt-Tab. Okay, so back to our pfSense system. We can actually log into him from our host. Remember on the host side? Now, I should get a login screen because this is the first login. Notice I'm connecting to that address I assigned to him from my PC, from the pfSense startup. Okay, so I'm going to go with the default admin, password pfSense, and it's going to give me my initial welcome page. Might as well, before we forget this, change the password in the user manager. There's the admin password. For super security, you would not even let admin log in. You'd create a different user. So let's set his password to be the pollster password. And the save is way down at the bottom. Okay, later on we'll be coming in here and adding a VPN user. We're not going to do that yet because we're going to set up the VPN first. Okay, so let's go over to the openvpn. It's already a part of it. I don't have to do any additional things until I want to export. I'm going to do openvpn, and First thing I'm going to do is use the wizard. Don't try it yourself until you've done the wizard a few times, or you'll just be very frustrated. I know that from experience. Allow local user access. Okay. Our other options are LDAP and radius. Okay. Now I would just want to see where this shows up, so I like to do something like VPN 1. This is my certificate authority, and I'm going to call this, this is the descriptive name, just so I know where I put that and where it shows up. Go into the default settings everywhere else. Oh, but look here, I should put in a code. I'm going to put in Iowa, since I did this before, to remembering my entries. And I'll put in University of Duke. Doesn't like spelling of Duke. How about that? So that's the certificate authority certificate. Okay, so that does that. Now it wants a server certificate. So I'm going to call this my descriptive name server certificate. So VPN1 server certificate. I'm going to put in parentheses descriptive name. And everything here, I think we go with default. It remembers from my other one. Not sure exactly why it needs 2 certificates, but the more certificates, the more secure you are. Okay, so I've got those 2 certificates. Okay, it's going to work over the WAN. It's going to allow that protocol. And I'm going to put in the description VPN 1 openvpn server. And description. We are using the TLS authorization, shared key. Whenever you're confused, if something's not working, this is the part that sometimes they come back to. Some VPN clients don't understand some encryptions, and there's a ton that you can choose from. There's a huge list under there. We're going with the defaults. This is the important part. You need to decide the tunnel network. You can choose any tunnel network, and they even give you that number. You could even use that one. Let's go ahead and use that one just for fun. 10.0.8.0. It's like this is the network hidden in the tunnel. It's like, who cares except VPN? You think you could decide, perhaps you have to choose this network to be different than the local network on the other side. And we're going to allow, we're not going to force them to browse the internet through our VPN server. Right now we just want to be able to make a connection. Now this is the important one. Since our network, our local network is that number, that is the important network to put in there. Any other network, we'd be trying to connect to the wrong network. And I'm going to allow a reasonable number of concurrent connections. If I get one working, I'm happy. I'm going to go with the default settings here, just kind of browse through what they are, get familiar with them. So I have seen on one setting they actually had to put in some advanced options to get it to work correctly, but I'm going with the defaults, unless I just can't make it work and I have to come back to this. Okay? We're going to, this is a very important part. This is the part that doing it by hand is a real pain, and you're never sure if you have it right because there's so many other things that can go wrong. So let the wizard do this for you. There we go. Now, at this point, it's not ready to export anything. You can come back to these pages. You're not going to see any clients because there's no way for them to connect through yet. At this point, we want to be able to export our setting, but before we can do that, we need one other thing here. Back in the System User Manager, we need to add our VPN user that's going to be allowed to connect through. So we're going to add a user, and they need to be able to log on. So I'm going to add a VPN user 1. Give him a password. I'll use the pollster password. And user 1. Don't worry about expiration date. This is important. This is needed by OpenVPN. if you don't do this, you come back and you can't export anything. So I'll call it VPN1. I already had a certificate. Descriptive name. And notice, because I created this other certificates, it has those in there. This is where those descriptive names show up. And I'm not using IPsec. If I came back, I would probably need to enter something there that the client will need to use. Okay? Now that the user is in there with certificates, one other thing I noticed here is when I was trying to get it to work with Ubuntu, one thing I needed was another group called Nobody. So I'm going to do that here. Give a group name Nobody. Local scope, and I'm going to call it may be needed by Ubuntu VPN clients. I wasn't able to get it to work until it got a little further than it. I'd stopped at that error about group Nobody, and I'm going to put VPN user in the member of group Nobody. Doesn't matter for the Windows as far as I can tell. Okay, so VPN is ready. One more thing to do though, I want to be able to export these settings to make it easy to set up a Windows system. So I'm going to go into my System Package Manager, and I want to add some packages. The one I care about right now is something related to VPN. So I type in VPN and search, and I see several things related to VPN, but not a ton. This is the one I want. I want to be able to send pre-configured VPN settings to my Windows clients. So I install that. Very quick install. I'm going to come back here and install Snort as well, but we want this configuration to be installed first and ready to go. Look how fast that's going. There we go. Now I can go back now to VPN, openvpn, and this is now showing up. We don't care about shared key export. Client export is what I want. Now if I've done everything right, when you come to the bottom here, you will see something to export. Woohoo! This means that it has worked. If you don't have something here, it usually gives you a little helpful message about why you're not seeing anything there. Yeah, here's the little explanation, and there's probably something to do with certificates if that's not working, and that can be very confusing. Alright, so since I'm ready to install for a newer Windows, I can go ahead and download that. Since I'm on an Ubuntu system, I would download that. I've been playing with some help to download the Viscosity bundle, and that's supposed to help me with Linux. Wasn't able to get any of them to work. But if you're going to connect from a Windows system, what your client needs, not only to have OpenVPN installed, it needs to have this configuration. And by downloading that, and then making it available someplace like your Dropbox or Google Drive, this is where your client then can get your configuration, but they do still need to have OpenVPN installed, and that's where Windows 7 would not install for me. But at this point, if you have that, distribute that OpenVPN executable installer that wants to see OpenVPN there, then your Windows client is ready to go. So what was that? That took 22 minutes with lots of pauses along the way to explain things. You could get it under 10 minutes, have a VPN available for a Windows system. So to review what we did, we installed pfsense, set up his various addresses, added the configured OpenVPN using the wizard, created a user with a certificate, so they could then have a certificate in there. Then the package to be added of openvpn wizard, export wizard, and then come back and just export that file. Then we're good.